Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Can you hear me? And can you see my screen?
Assalamu alaikum. Yes, Mrs. Shakil, we can hear your voice and see the screen as well.
Jazakumullah. Jazakumullah. Okay, so please see the work on the screen. You can see somebody's beautiful work. You should have a pen and paper with you when you come to classes. So we'll start by saying Rabbi Zidni Ilma, Rabbi Zidni Ilma, oh Lord, increase my knowledge. So we can do dua before we start, and we can start writing out these notes on the screen. So I'm going to ask a student to help me, but before that, I'd like you to all check your student ID and your room numbers. Please make sure that you're displaying the right number. So that we can allocate you to the correct classes. I'm going to unmute Anaya. Assalamu alaikum, Anaya, beta. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum.
How are you? Anaya, what a lovely name.
I'm okay, and how are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. Thank you for joining me. So how are you doing? Are you okay today?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Can you read this beautiful hadith at the top of the page for me?
Okay. Recite the Quran through the hours of the night and the day.
Okay, so this is hadith, yeah? And can you also, now we're learning the rules of Noon, Sakin, and Tanween. And you know Tanween, what Tanween looks like, they're double strokes, yeah?
Yeah.
And there's a hidden Noon sound in Tanween. So there's a Noon Sakin in that Tanween, you know, the sound of Noon. When we have Tanween, we have two Dhammas, two Fathas, two Kasras, yeah? And on page 117 or 151 or 152 of the Tanween-Qur'an, we can see some more rules. But meanwhile, can I ask you to read out question number 1 for me?
Okay. Number 1, from the 28 letters or sounds of the Arabic alphabet, if we were to remove the 6 letters of the throat, as well as the 6 letters of idgham and also ba, then?
Wow. And you read that out so nicely, mashallah. So 28 letters are all the letters of the alphabet. And what they're saying in this is that we remove 6 letters of the throat, that is also known as hurufi halki, letters of the throat, then and the 6 letters of idgham and the letter ba, we should be left with 15 letters, yeah?
Yeah.
Can you read out number 2 for me then?
Okay. 15 will remain. These are the letters of Ikhfa, of Nun, Sakin, and Tanween.
Wow, brilliant. Mashallah, you read that so nicely. So we've got the 6 letters here. Alif, Hamza, Ha, Ain, Ha, Wain, Hua. Okay, and these 6 letters are the letters of the throat. And if Nun, Sakin, and Tanween, and if these letters are followed after the Nun, Sakin, or Tanween, then we will pronounce the Nun with clarity. We don't have to do much at all. We leave it as it is. And then we have Idgham. We know these letters come after Nun, Sakin, and Tanween. We produce a nasal sound, or sometimes we don't. Here we're talking about 15 letters that will remain after these letters are taken off the 28. And these are letters of Ikhfa, letters of concealment. Okay, so I'm going to ask somebody else to join me. Thank you very much for joining me, Inaya. Jazakumullah. That was wonderfully read, and we will ask you to come again. So I love your name, and I love the way you read it out so clearly. The questions were so clear, mashallah. Okay, I've got another student here that put their hand up. I think your name is Safa. Assalamu alaikum, Safa beta. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum.
How are you, beta?
I'm good, Jazakallah. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. Can you quickly do me a favor and read question number 3 for me, darling?
The word ikhfa means concealment, hiding. The end sound hides behind these letters. It is a state between izhar and idgham.
So we say it's a state between izhar and idgham. So we know izhar is to, you know, recite something with clarity, clearly, you know, in, for example. But idgham, like, for example, miwa, tiwa, we give a 2-second nasal sound sometimes, and sometimes we don't have milla dunka. It's just complete assimilation, and we don't say the noon sound. Okay, but Ikhfa, we applied 2-second nasal sounds, you know, min, man, like that, yeah? And our tongue does not touch the roof of our mouth. It remains halfway, so we don't say the noon, it's hidden. Min, like this, yeah? Now here, number 4, can you read out that for me, darling?
This produces a light nasal sound, which we hold for 2 counts. Light gunna. We do not pronounce the nun sakin and sound.
Okay, so here what we're saying, we don't pronounce the we do it like gunna, and we don't say the noon. Our tongue doesn't touch the roof of our mouth, it stays halfway. So we don't say n, we don't say that, we say yeah. Now here we've got these 15 letters at the bottom of the page, which I hope that everybody's writing out, and I hope you're making a note in your notebooks of these 15 letters. You don't need to learn them by heart. And what we're trying to say to you, that if these 28 letters minus letters of clarity, minus letters of idgham, you will have left the over in your 28 letters. When you've minus these 6 letters here or 7 letters here and 6 letters of idgham, you're left with these letters here. These are the 15 letters of ikhfa. And can you read these out for me? Beta, can you read these out, Safa? The example. Yeah.
Anzila
Yeah.
min qablik.
Wow, you read that so nicely, mashallah. Very well done. And thank you for joining me. It was lovely hearing you today. I will ask you to join me again sometime. And so everybody by now would have written out all these notes, and I would advise you to memorize them. So it's coming up to 6 o'clock, nearly time for tilawat. So it's time that you check here. If you've just joined us, check your ID, check your room number is displayed correctly. Please make sure you join classes on time. Be prepared for your classes. Have a notebook, pen ready. Your head should be covered. You should be in full wudu. There should be no eating or drinking during classes. You can sip some water, but you should be reciting out loudly and clearly. You know, if you're on mute and you're listening to your fellow classmate or you know, your teacher, you should be reciting loud. When we ask you to unmute, you should be ready. You should be nowhere to, you know, where you should read from, where you have to start reading from, and you should know you know, what's happening in the class. You should be attentive. You don't leave the screen and go away. And you should be using a laptop. Do not use your phone. So now I'm going to pass you to our main course leader, Mrs. Orchard, and she will take over the class from here. So Jazakumullah and Assalamu alaikum from me.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullah, Mr. Shakil. And now we're just going to go on to our tilawat. Again, what I'd like you to do is pay attention to the rules. Now, if you everybody put your hands down for a second, I'm going to call the reciter. But before that, I want you to have a look at the surah. And if you are confident to read it, perhaps you could repeat after our reciter. You put your hands up if you would like to repeat. First of all, could I ask Farkhanda, are you there, beta?
Yes.
Beta. Now, who would like to recite after Farkhanda? Let me just have a look.
Assalamu alaikum.
Islam Haris, would you like to recite after Baji? Yeah?
Yes, please.
Excellent. Okay, Farkhanda, you start, beta.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Jazakumullah to Haris and Jazakumullah for Khanda. You can come back later for Khanda, yes?
Okay.
Excellent, Jazakumullah for the prayer. Everybody else come back as well. We've got to memorize that prayer. Okay, look at the right-hand side of the screen. Look at these words, izhar, idgham, iqlab, ikhfa. Do you understand what they mean? Do you understand the rules? Why do we have these letters here? What are they for? How are they going to affect the sound, the sound of the nun, sakin or tanween? Yes, remember tanween letters, they are called munawwan letters. Yeah, those bearing the tanween signs. So they can change according to these letters. If these letters follow the sound, the sound will change, except for these ones, izhar. Have a look. We've been covering these over the past 3-4 weeks. Okay, and that's what this is a revision lesson today. So we're going to just give ourselves a quick reminder of the rule. Now, I don't just want you to fill in the blanks. I want you to fill in the blanks and try to understand the rules. Okay, the rules are here in front of you. I need your help to go through the rules. So let me ask by unmuting somebody.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hi, Islam. Now, could you please, first of all, give us the hadith, the words of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam at the top.
Recite the Quran through the hours of the day of the night.
What do you think that means? What's that telling us to do?
To read it like daily.
Daily, but also you could any time of the day or night. Okay, there's no limit. So we should read the Quran a lot. Okay, so you're doing well. Why don't you do number 1 as well?
From the 28 letters sounds of the Arabic alphabet, if we were to remove the 6 letters of the throat as well as the 6 letters of idgham and also ba, then
Number 2.
15 will remain. These are the letters of Ikhfa, of Nun, Sakin and Tanween.
Jazakumullah. Thank you. Very nice reading. Jazakumullah. Okay. Excellent. So I'm going to ask somebody else to unmute. So just let's have a look at what was being said there. First of all, we were told that we should read the Quran anytime, all the time we can read it. Okay, and that's the best way for you to get practice of these rules. Then we went on to the Nun, Sakin, Tanween rules. Okay, how do we pronounce the sound? Okay, the Nun, Sakin and Tanween sound. And it all depends on what letter follows. So there's 28 letters in the Arabic alphabet. In fact, every single one has its own sound. If it's followed by 6 of these letters of the throat, huruf al-halaqi, there's no change. You just read it nice and clearly, izhar. Okay? But if it's followed by these 6 letters of idgham, yarmulun, then it will blend into the next letter, either completely or partially. So sometimes with a gunna, other times without gunna. If it's followed by a ba, then the rule of iqlab or exchange will take place. We call it exchange or iqlab because the rule of the end sound will turn into a meme sound, and meme sakin sound instead of a nun sakin sound, okay? So it'll be followed by a light gunna with a meme sound, okay? We did all these rules, we covered these over the last 3 weeks. And then this week we went on to the final rule, which is the 15 letters that remain, okay? And we did the rule of Ikhfa. And at the bottom of the page in red, you can see all of those letters of Ikhfa. But we don't actually have to memorize them, because if we've memorized these 6 letters of the throat, حروف حلقي, the 6 letters of idgham, yarmulun, and ba. All we have to do is see, is it one of these? Does it come under one of these? And if it's not, then it's going to be ikhfa. So it's a matter of subtraction or takeaway. So take a look at that. You should know by heart, we've had 3 weeks, these 6 letters of izhar, the 6 letters of idgham, and the 1 letter of iqlab, of exchange. So I'm going to ask somebody now to go into the ikhfa rule. I'll ask somebody to unmute.
Assalamualaikum.
Hi, Islam Najia. Can you please help me do number 3?
Okay. These words,
The word ikhfa
means
concealment.
concealment, hiding. The sound hides behind these letters. It is a space
Yeah.
between izhar and idgham.
Excellent, Jazakumullah. Thank you for that. So I might need to explain that. Jazakumullah beta. So let me explain that again. Okay. Now, with these 15 letters, it's not izhar and it's not idgham. It's kind of in between. It's the sound is hiding. It becomes a light gunna sound. Okay. So let's finish this off, and I'm going to ask somebody else to unmute.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hi, Islam Mahir. Could you do number 4, please, for me?
This produces a light nasal sound which we hold for 2 counts. Light gunna. We do not pronounce the nun sakin end sound.
Okay, so one way of doing it is you make the sound of the end sound, but you don't let your tongue touch anything. There's a few methods that you could use. That's one way. Okay, so instead of saying antum, we would say antum. Now, can you say the next word? Do you think? Try the next word.
Unzila
Nice. Next one.
min qablika.
Yes, and you could hold it for a bit longer, okay? But that's good. I heard the gunna sound. You did extend it a bit. Nicely done. Jazakumullah. Okay, so that is ikhfa, light gunna. When you get these fill in the blanks, you will be sent these within the next day or 2. You're going to get your student handout. Can I have everybody put your hands down? I want you to put your hands up if you received the student handout last week. If you all received it, you should all receive your student handout. That has the important slides on it. Okay, shabash, well done. Okay, but we need more of you to have your hands up. If your parents are on the groups, your parents should share it with you. These handouts are not for printing. Okay, I think your parents would be very unhappy with me if they were for printing because there's lots of color on them and your ink would run out probably on your printer. No, they're not for printing. They're not for printing. They're for your device. They're for your phone or your laptop or your computer. So you can look back at the important slides if you need to and revise. Okay. The other thing is, when it's written here, please copy this page out. That's exactly what I mean. I don't mean print it out. I mean copy it out. When you write something out by hand, it takes you time. You have to think about it, and inshallah, that will help you remember the rule in the future. Okay, because you will remember writing it out. So in the same way that I've typed all of this out, I want you to write this all out, and the student handout helps you to do that because it means that you've got it on your device. Okay, and the reason you have the student handout is that you can remember rules like this. Okay, so here what we've done is I've given you the rules on the side, but I've got izhar, reading the see here, look, that nun sakin, tanween, nun sakin, tanween, and nun sakin. Okay, this is the sound. Now the n sound is followed by a particular letter. Okay, you've got to look at the next letter, and that will tell you which rule to follow. So if it's one of these letters that follows, it's going to be izhar, read clearly, no effect. If it's going to be one of these letters, the ra or the lam, it will be read, it will be blended in, merged, idgham, completely, no gunna. If it's ya, nun, mim, or wow, it will also be merged, but there'll be a little gunna, a little bit of a gunna left behind. If it's followed by a ba, if the second letter is a ba after Noon Sakin or Tanween, it will be exchanged with a meme, and normally there's a baby meme written there. And if it's neither of these, if it's not any of these, then it will be Ikhfa. If the next letter is what, it will be one of those 15. And I don't have to list them because you'll know, because it's not going to be these ones. So now what I'm going to do, let me get my annotations ready. I'm going to try to match, I'm going to match the rule to the sound. So I'm going to ask a few of you to unmute now. Let me see. I'm sending a message, please. If you've got your hand up, you have to look at the screen and unmute.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamu Humel, are you ready to do some matching?
Yes.
So here's a Noon Sakin. I'm going to highlight the letter that follows it. Which rule will it be?
It's hard.
Excellent. How did you know that?
Because when you look at his heart, there's a letter alif, and when you look at the word, it's a alif with a fatha, so it's hard.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, you're doing so well. Well, let's try another one. Let's try this one here. Let's try this one actually. So it's followed by this is the letter here. Okay. Excellent. Mashallah. Now, how do you know it's idgham naqis?
Because when you look at Ittagam, the Ittagam Kamil is in green, which is Ra and Lam. And when you look at below, it's Ittagam Naqis, and you can see Meen is in there, so it's me. Ittagam Naqis.
Excellent. Jazakumullah. You were very helpful there. Let's give somebody else, Jazakumullah Humel. Let's give somebody else a go now. I'm going to ask somebody else to unmute.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, Rubab. Okay, so that was idgham. Let's put this here. Kamil, complete assimilation with a K. Idgham naqis, which is partial assimilation. And the important thing is about the gunna. Okay, one without gunna, one with gunna. Okay, let's go for this one now. This one has a fa. Which one do you think?
I can't. The screen is all black for me.
Is it okay? All right, then if you can't see the screen, then maybe we'll you can help us another time, beta. Jazakumullah. Okay, I hope you fix your screen. Let's go to somebody else.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum Adil. So you're going to help us with this one. Munfakina. What would that be? I've not read it correctly because it should be a particular rule. I should read it with a light gunna. Which one would this be? The fa. If the fa is following the noon, would it be any of these rules or would it be this one here?
It's gonna be Ikhfa.
Excellent. How did you know?
Because Ikhfa.
Because it's neither of, it's not these letters, right?
There's 15 letters include ta, sa, jim, dal, za, sin, shin, sa, za, toin, zoi, fa, ka, kaf, and there's fa in it.
Very good. That's not how I remember, but you've got a very good memory if you can do that, or maybe it's written there. That's excellent if you can refer to that. The easiest way, very good. The easiest way is knowing that it's not this, and it's not this. Okay. Do you want to do another one? Are you there? No? Okie dokie. Let's try someone else. I want you to unmute straight away. I'm sending you a message if you've got your hand up, so you please unmute or put your hand down. Okay, put your hands down if you don't want to unmute. I will only ask those people who've got their hands up and who wish to unmute.
Assalamualaikum.
Alaikum inaya beta. Now I've got a Tanween followed by a qaf. Oops. Qaf. Qayyima. Kutubun qayyima. Now if I read it together, how would it be with a qaf? Is qaf one of these throat letters? Is it one of these yarmulun letters? Is it a ba, or is it neither and none of those, and it's one of the 15 remaining?
It's Ikhfa.
Excellent. Do you do that with a matter of subtraction? To correct these ones, excellent. So kutubun qayyima, right? As a light one. Okay, so you're doing well. How about a noon sakin followed by a ba, the letter ba?
Iqlab.
Excellent. How do you know?
because Iqlab, I can see there's a ba, and the meme Sakin is followed by a ba.
Yes, and there's a little meme there as well. So instead of min ba, I think it's min ba'di, it would be min ba'di. We hold it. Excellent, very good work. Jazakumullah, thank you for that. Now, okay, can everybody see how these students worked it out? Have a good look at the screen. There should be nothing confusing. It should all make sense to you because I put the definitions on the right-hand side and all we've been doing is matching it, okay? Oops, let's have a look here. Now, make sure you know all these letters and let's go on to the next one. Now, this time, I'm not going to give you the definitions. Do you think you could, let's do just a couple. We've got time for just a couple. So I'm going to ask someone to unmute. Wa Islam, who's that?
Mehreen.
Marine Beta, let's have a go at this. There's a noon. Let's take this one. Okay, this is interesting. This doesn't come up very often. Actually, there's a rule in here that doesn't come up very often in the noon, sakin, tanween because there's only 6 letters and it's hardly ever, not hardly ever, but more rare. So there's your noon sakin, right? And
Yes.
this is a ha. So which one would that be? Let me read.
Would it be
Mhm.
the
Let me read it for you. Al-anharu. Say it again, Beta.
Ikhfa or Iqlab?
Well, I'm going to read it. Tell me how I'm reading it. Al-anharu. Al-anharu. How am I reading? Do you hear the sound?
Yeah, but there's no gunna.
No gunna. So it's clearly read. Okay. So it's one of those 6. Let me have a look. It's one of those 6 letters. Look, here it is. Can you see here? Yeah. Can you see that? Ha?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's why. Okay. Let's go for one more. Oh, let me line this up. With that one. How about, okay, then how about this one then here? Just 1 minute. Okay, so now we want to go for, okay, this one. This is your noon sakin. Can you see it at the bottom here? Right, what letter is following this noon sakin? What letter is following this noon sakin, Beta?
Ha again.
Again, so how would we read that?
Anha, anhu.
Yes, anhu or anh, because it's going to be clear, because it's a ha, right? Similar, what letter,
Yeah.
what letter this is? This one, this can confuse people, this one here.
It's ha, right?
Yes, that's another, look, there's 3 ways of writing ha, like this, with 2 eyes, like this, with a head and this pointy one. So they're all is ha, right? Also, this
Yeah.
one as well, okay? Because this ha is one of the letters of the throat too, okay? Liman, khoshiya, okay? Excellent. Now, just to let you know, all the others are ikhfa. Okay, all the like in that, right? That's a very common. Jazakumullah, thank you, Mariam. Jazakumullah for your help. Okay, now we're coming to the end now, and what I want to do is just make sure that you know that in the breakout rooms, what you want to do is practice the rule of today, and I just want to make sure you understand about la. What you can do when you go into your when you go into your breakout rooms, you can ask your students. Okay, at which punctuation mark la must you not pause and restart? Okay, it's one of these, A, B, or C. So you can see, have to think about that. Okay, and then you can tell your teachers, and maybe you can tell your teachers the answer to this question as well. Okay, why do you have a choice here? Okay, we did it a few days ago. And then also when you're in your breakout room, what you can do is you can look for these rules in Surah Falaq, right? And you have them highlighted here in these verses, Surah Baqarah. Okay, so you'll get plenty of practice, inshallah, with the rules that we've done this week. If we can go into our break, and we need to come back into the main room. One more thing, sorry, just to very quickly mention, I'm sure all of you will come back into the main room, but just in case you were not here beforehand, you should have been here, that on Friday, we've got a Saturday, sorry, we've got Sirat al-Nabi Jalsa on the that's 22nd of October. I think it's around about 4-ish, okay? But you spend we've got holidays after that. Okay, a week, and you've got those 4 weeks to practice the 4 rules of Noon, Sakin, and Tanween. I'll send you this. You'll get your student handouts soon this weekend. Read them. Don't print them off, please. Just read them and copy out what you need to. Apply the rules in your daily tilawat. Make sure you learn your hifz, and we'll do the dua later. We'll come back on Monday the 31st. Okay. In the meantime, make sure you revise all the rules and give your teacher your QRS, your chapter and verse. Okay. And if a teacher rings you up and asks you why you were absent, you must give her the reason, okay? So let's go into our breakout rooms and we'll be back in about 20 minutes or so.